Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Luke Ness Monster, and today we will be reviewing the Star Wars The Black Series Walmart exclusive Tartakovsky 2003 Clone Wars Mace Windu. That is one heck of a title for this figure, but yeah, this one is super cool because it is part of the 50th anniversary of Lucasfilm Publishing line, and because of that, it does have the throwback to the original Tartakovsky packaging, which is really cool. Obviously, this is the 2003 like 2D animated art style for Mace Windu, and I think they like executed this figure perfectly. So let's go ahead and take a close look at the box. Like I said, this is the 2003 Clone Wars, and so this box is pretty close to it, and honestly I think this box does look awesome. I do love the art style with the 2003 Clone Wars. It definitely got a nice effect on this box, even with the explosion in the background. I think that's super cool. It does say Clone Wars with the Clone Wars logo on the side there. Unfortunately, my bubble is kind of coming up, so it doesn't look perfect. But flipping it around to the back, we do have some more Mace Windu art there. Nice purple color, of course. And then we do have the bio if you do want to pause and read that. We also do have the 50th anniversary of Lucasfilm timeline. So yeah, really excited about this. One thing I did want to take a close look at that I noticed is the lightsaber isn't like in the right spot in the packaging. This is sealed, unopened yet, but the lightsaber should be in that little like, I guess, plastic groove that's in the box there, and it isn't. I don't know how that happened, whether this just happened like when they were packing it or it somehow fell out, but it's like not under the tape. I don't know how that happens, but you know, it's pretty interesting. We'll go ahead and get this open and take a closer look, but I just thought it was really weird. So we got Mace Windu out of the box, and he is super cool. Like, first impressions, I don't even know how to say this. He is absolutely amazing. There is quite a few new molds on this figure too, which is really cool, and I'll definitely jump into that in a second. But yeah, overall, like, first impressions, this guy is incredible. Anyway, let's go ahead and get him off of the spinny stand and take a closer look. We'll also be doing a deep analysis of the weapons and some comparisons along the way as well. So stick around. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. So first up, taking a look at some of the new pieces that this figure has. I think the most obvious is, of course, the shoulder armor. This is a brand new mold for this figure, and it is specifically designed to go over the cloak. That's something that I thought is really cool because I didn't know how they would do that, and they found a way to do it, and it looks really good. Speaking of the cloak, this is also a brand new cloak. The thing that I like the most about it is it has the like bunched up at the elbows rather than going all the way down to the hands, because they make their cloaks a little too big and it looks a little funky. But with it like bunched up at the elbows there, it looks really clean, like really good. I don't know how to compare that. Actually, I will. We will compare that later in the video to a figure with a more like bunchier cloak. But this one looks really good. I didn't mention, but the little shoulder pads are connected to the like the main shoulder piece as well. Compared to some other figures like Anakin Skywalker, which we will also look at in a little bit, his are actually like a part of the shoulder like socket. So it's interesting to see how they did this figure. One big new piece that I think is going to be really useful in future figures is the addition of the Jedi like clone armor arm. This is a brand new piece that has the Jedi robes and the clone armor arm all in one mold, and so this will connect to just the standard Jedi body, which is super cool because it means in the future we could be getting more Clone Wars outfit Jedi, which is really awesome. And if you guys know Hasbro at all, you know that they don't tend to make a new mold unless they plan on reusing it. So I would expect to see more Clone Wars Jedi in the future just because of this brand new piece, which is really cool. And then there is also a brand new Clone Trooper belt, which is specifically for the Jedi because it does have a peg for the lightsaber. Obviously, you can actually remove the blade of the lightsaber, which is pretty cool, but it does have a little peg right here in the belt that you can connect the lightsaber too, and have the lightsaber on his belt if you want. That's one that I really, really like. I love that feature, and it is pretty cool. One thing you might notice about the lightsaber is that the paint is different than the standard Mace Windu lightsaber, which we will also get into once we go into analysis of the weapons. But I just thought that was really interesting, so we'll definitely look at that in a second. But other than that, this is mainly reuse from the waist down. Some people were saying that the chest is a new mold, and I do think the overlay on the chest is new, but I don't believe the actual chest is. And what I mean by that is if you look underneath his little shoulder here, you can tell, it's hard to tell, but he does have like an actual chest underneath this front piece of plastic right here. And what I think they did is they just changed that front overlay, where I guess, for example, the old Mace Windu, you might be able to see it better. You can tell, like I said, that chest is right there. He just has this overlay going over it. And what I think they did is they just changed this front overlay, which is pretty cool. I'm not sure if that's a new mold or not, but either way, it turned out really good. One thing that really surprised me is that this big shoulder armor and the cloak doesn't get in the way of articulation. He can lift his arm all the way up, and it can go all the way. Actually, it can't go all the way around. Unfortunately, it could probably only go this far up without this potential of breaking. But he can go back around this way. The lightsaber just fell off. And yeah, you get a ton of articulation there. And even with this bunched up elbow cloak right there, you can still get a nice articulation on the elbow, which is super, super cool. Obviously, the rest of him is basic Jedi body, so I'm not really going to go over that, but yeah, looks really good. He doesn't have a ton of ab or anything. He gets more than you might think, but not as much as you might like. But yeah, overall, articulation is pretty solid, and it's one of the best, I guess, Jedi articulations. Compared to some of the older Jedi bodies, this is still blows it out of the water. So yeah, let's go ahead and take a close look at the lightsaber. So here is Mace Windu's new lightsaber hilt. This is a brand new mold for the hilt, just to account for the little lightsaber peg there. Before it didn't have that, so it is nice to get that. You can peg it on his belt, which is pretty cool, but the paint is actually a lot different on this hilt, which is kind of surprising. They based this off of the animated show rather than the movie, so here is the movie lightsaber, and immediately you can see there is no peg, of course, but there is black on the bottom, and then black all the way around here, and then gold on the buttons. That is the main difference. As you can tell, it is a little hard to focus, but comparing that to the new saber, you can tell there is a big difference in the paint. And the thing that they did is they actually based this one off of the show, because of course the figure is based off the show, but instead of giving it a realistic hilt to the movie, they gave it a realistic hilt to the show, and I'll show you that right now. Using this box for reference, as you can tell, they didn't make the top of his blade black, and so they didn't on this one either. And they also only made one of these squares gold on this, and so they only did it on this one that as well, which is interesting because you think they'd probably want to go with the more movie accurate version, but instead they went with the more animated accurate version. And I actually really, really appreciate that, but it does give me a few mixed opinions. It is mainly when it comes to the Black Series Fordo. This figure is completely inaccurate in every single way, and that just gives me a little bit frustrated because they put in the attention to detail to something as the colors of the lightsaber hilt that most people wouldn't even notice. But they decided to put in the time and effort to paint that correctly to the show, make it show accurate on the lightsaber hilt, but they didn't even try with Fordo, because Fordo is so inaccurate that it just makes me wonder, why? I know why, and it's because they wanted to save money and reuse that ARC Trooper mold rather than giving us a accurate version of it, but it is just frustrating. Anyway, first up for comparisons, it is actually Anakin and Obi-Wan in their Clone Wars outfits. I really do love how these look together. I think they came out great, and honestly, I cannot wait to see more Clone Wars Jedi. Hopefully they do decide to do that with these arms. What I think they're going to do is actually give us a, how do you say, Season 3 through 7 version of Anakin and Obi-Wan, where they don't have these big shoulder armor and then all the stuff on the arms kind of like this, but their outfits are more of their Jedi outfits, but with just those gauntlets. And so that's what I think they're going to do, is they're going to give us like a Clone Wars Anakin and Obi-Wan, but with just the gauntlets rather than the whole Clone Wars armor. Either way, I'd be happy with both, and honestly, I'd be happy to own both as well. So if Hasbro's willing to make it, I am willing to buy it. Next up, for the comparisons, we do actually have the Phantom Menace Mace Windu. This is, of course, like I said, from the 50th anniversary of 50th anniversary of Lucasfilm publishing line version of the 20th anniversary of Phantom Menace. So it is pretty solid Mace Windu. Obviously, there is the main difference, of course, no cloak, different belt, and then of course there is the shoulder as well. But as you can see, some big differences. These arms have big poofy arms. The clone arms does have the different overlay. Like I said, this overlay you can almost see down through the shirt, where obviously the armor covers it up, but that does look like it is a different overlay if I don't throw the figure. And then one big difference that I immediately noticed is the color of the boots are different. Small detail, but it is pretty cool. The faces are almost identical. This does look like to be a new face sculpt, and they both look really good. I do have to say, I think the Phantom Menace version looks more like Samuel L. Jackson, but they both look good. I do think that the newer version does suffer from the shiny face syndrome a little bit more, but it is what it is. They both look great, and honestly, I do like both of these figures. It's looking really, really good. Next up for comparisons, we do have Mace Windu here next to Commander Pons on the right, or I guess better known as just the Clone Commander, and then the standard Phase 1 on the left. Obviously, with the scene from the Tartakovsky Clone Wars that he is in, he is mainly with the Phase 1 clone, so I figured I'd definitely show him off with that. But in Attack the Clones, he is with Commander Pons a lot, so I figured I'd show him off as well. Looking really, really good together, and yeah, like I said, I'm a huge fan of this Clone Wars armor. He even looks great with clones, so yeah, loving how that turned out. Next up, we do have some more Jedi. We do have Kit Fisto on the right, and then Revenge of the Sith Anakin on the left. I think one thing that this figure definitely fixed is the cloak. As you can tell with Anakin here, I'm going to move these guys over just a little bit. As you can tell with Anakin here, the hood looks a little funky, it just doesn't look straight, and then the sleeves look really long, and they don't work super well. This figure fixes them both. Obviously, he doesn't have a hood, and the sleeves stop at his elbows. It really fixes all the problems that this cloak tends to have, and so I love how this, his cape, I guess you could say, came out, because it does look a lot better than the standard Jedi cape. Unfortunately, we don't have Mace Windu's Clone Trooper Battalion, the 187th Battalion, in the Black Series just yet. He did just get revealed by Hasbro, and it is a Walgreens exclusive, but we don't have him in hand yet. Unfortunately, it'll probably be a few months before it starts hitting stores. But for now, we do have him next to Episode 2 Obi-Wan, and then the 212th, which is also a Walgreens exclusive. Yeah, looking really, really good. I cannot wait to get the 187th to put with this Mace Windu, because, yeah, these figures look great together. And I know that the 212th did show up with Mace Windu in Season 7 of the Clone Wars, so it is nice to get a little bit of a comparison there. But overall, this figure is looking great. So, yeah, overall, I am in love with this figure. This was the one figure from that Tartakovsky wave that I was like, I 100% need that figure. He has a bunch of new molds, awesome looking cape, a nice armor overlay, and then some solid articulation as well. Looking really, really good, and I think this is a must-have figure for any Clone Wars fan. Even if you're not a Tartakovsky Clone Wars fan, this, like any Clone Wars fan, should get this figure because it is absolutely incredible. And I also suggest if you guys haven't seen the 2003 Clone Wars, go check it out on Disney+. It is like a 2-hour kind of like mini-series, so it's not like a full TV show, but it has some amazing, amazing scenes from just Star Wars that we hadn't really seen yet, and it came out amazing. I think my favorite scene's got to be the scene with Mace Windu, though. I'll throw up a few little bits and pieces throughout the video, but yeah, I'm in love with that scene, and this figure captures that perfectly. So I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5. There's really nothing wrong with this figure that I can see. If you did enjoy, hit the like button and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.